Benchmark Test 1. I will be reading pages 20 and 21, followed by the questions. Agis, the much beloved and respected king of Athens, often went traveling about the countryside. One year he journeyed far to the south where he met a woman named Aethra. Agis and Aethra fell in love, married, and eventually had a child, whom they named Theseus. Agis enjoyed spending time far from his kingdom with his wife and son, but he also took great pride in his responsibilities as king. Agis knew his first duties were to the people under his rule. Agis knew that his return to Athens was at hand and that he would have to leave his family behind. "Perhaps our eyes will never meet again," Agis said to his wife, "but I hope one day to be reunited with my son. I shall leave my sandals and my sword here under the heaviest of stones. If, when the boy grows up, he is strong enough to lift the stone, then he should take the sword and the sandals and bring them to me in Athens. Then I shall know that the young man is Theseus and that he is worthy to take over my throne." Agis tried to console his wife, but there was no comfort to be found in their parting. Agis returned to his palace in Athens, leaving Aethra to raise young Theseus alone, which he did with much dedication and love. In time, Theseus grew to be a fine young man with all the might of a mountain. When he was ready, his mother brought him to the stone and explained what his father had done years before. Theseus easily raised the stone and removed the sandals and sword from underneath. He put on his father's sandals and secured his father's sword around his waist. "We both know that it is time for me to leave, mother," said Theseus sadly. "I must go to father in Athens and show him that I am worthy to take over." Aethra fought to control her grief, a sadness she had never known before. She knew there was nothing she could do to alter her son's fate. She could only issue one warning. "Stay on the main road to Athens, Theseus. In this way, you will meet as few troubles as possible on your journey." Theseus was not one to ordinarily disobey his mother. However, the thought of a long journey with little adventure was like imagining a sky without stars. So rather than traverse the main road to Athens, Theseus traveled instead through the countryside. Each traveler he met offered grave warnings, imploring Theseus to turn back and avoid the monsters that lay waiting in the forest and among the cliffs. But Theseus was not deterred. "Then I shall slay them with my father's sword," he declared. "The news of my deeds will precede my arrival in Athens. I will make my father proud before I even arrive." The first monster Theseus encountered was Siren. Siren would first rob his victims of all they owned and then throw them off a cliff into the sea, where they were devoured by a giant turtle. Theseus slew Siren and delivered him to the same fate that Siren delivered his victims. Soon after, another monster named Sinis appeared, but Sinis was no match for Theseus, who slew this monster as well. Many more monsters appeared, each more powerful than the one before. All of them met their doom at the hand of Theseus. For the first time, the people of the countryside began to feel free now to enjoy their land. But one terrible creature remained, and his name was Procrustes, the most fierce monster of all. Theseus had been warned of this monster, and so when he met him, he was prepared to do away with him. Once inside Procrustes' den, Theseus wrapped his long, sinewy arms around the creature and squeezed the life out of him. Theseus then found a treasure room filled with gold and silver inside the den, which he distributed to the people of the countryside. As predicted, Theseus arrived in his father's palace, already a well-known and much respected young man. He was beloved by the people, for he had freed them from their fears and had been generous toward them. As Agis watched Theseus walk proudly past the pillars into the royal courtroom, he saw the sandals and the sword that he had left for the boy. King Agis wept with delight, for here indeed was a man as beloved as he, worthy to succeed him. So that is the story. Now we will go to the questions on pages 22 and 23. What is the main idea of paragraph 7? A. Theseus' mother grieves over her son's departure. B. Theseus takes a dangerous route to Athens. C. Theseus learns he must go to find his father. Or D. Theseus bravely confronts several monsters. Number 2. In Procrustes' den, Theseus found A, a sword, B, a giant turtle, C, coins and jewels, or D, gold and silver. Number 3, the boxes show some of the events in Theseus' life. The first box shows Theseus travels to Athens, followed by Theseus slays many monsters, and then a blank box. What belongs in the empty box? A, Theseus easily lifts the stone. B, Theseus and his mother say goodbye. C, Theseus faces the most feared monster of all. Or D, Theseus grows into a strong, brave young man. Number 4, why did Aegeus return to Athens? A, because he could no longer care for his wife and child. B, he had to return to his kingdom. C, because there was trouble in Athens. Or D, because his people demanded that he return. Number 5, in the myth, Theseus' strength is compared to A, monster, B, stone, C, pillar, or D, mountain. Number 6, what will most likely happen next? A, Aegeus orders Theseus arrested. B, Theseus and his father will rule Athens together. C, Theseus will take over his father's rule. Or D, Theseus will return to his home in the countryside. Number 7, the best meaning of the word precede is A, to come next after another or to follow. B, to advance or go on, especially after stopping. C, to move back or withdraw. D, to be, come, or go before in time. Number 8, from the myth, you can conclude that A, Theseus received his strength from his father's sword. B, Aethra's grief was stronger than when Theseus left than when Aegeus left. C, Aegeus never expected to see his son again. Or D, Theseus had always been allowed to do as he pleased. Number 9, which of these is an opinion? A, Aegeus often traveled over the land. B, Aethra and Aegeus fell in love and were married. C, Theseus has all the qualities needed to become a wise ruler. D, Theseus was raised by his mother. Number 10, the main purpose of the myth is to A, describe daily life in ancient Greece. B, persuade readers to learn more about the life of Theseus. C, explain how the people of Athens were freed of monsters. D, inform readers about ancient kings and their families. Number 11, the myth says a long journey with little adventure was like imagining a sky without stars. This is an example of A, a metaphor, B, personification, C, hyperbole, or D, a simile. Number 12, which of these best summarizes the myth? A woman is left alone to raise her child. B, a young man frees the people of Athens. C, a boy proves his worth to his father and the people of Athens. Or D, a powerful king hopes for a strong man to inherit his throne.